and today we are going to be working on the Little Homestead Stocking. This is a crochet pattern for probably an advanced beginner, nothing crazy. If you know how to work in the round or how to do half double crochet, I show you how to kind of alter those stitches just to get this lovely stitch texture. This is a really fun and quick pattern, so make sure to go ahead and grab your 6mm or J10 hook. You're going to need worsted weight yarn in 2 colors for this pattern, and you're going to need also your scissors. You can use a stitch marker, you don't have to, but it is an option. And then of course your yarn needle. So go ahead and grab your supplies and we will get started.
Alrighty guys, so to get our little homestead stocking started, we are going to start with a magic ring. And I do mine double because I find that it holds more securely. So then we're going to chain 1. And we're going to half double crochet 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, when I'm pulling this magic ring closed, you will often see that one side is going to close, and then I'll have to actually pull that side before it's too tight. And I will actually pull it, and you don't want the tail to move, but you want the other side to move. So you'll see that one side is tight, and then you'll be able to pull the tail to tighten both sides. So we're going to slip stitch to join. Then we'll chain 1. And now we're going to half double crochet increase into each stitch around. So we'll end up having 12 half double crochets. So 2 stitches into each half double crochet. So 1, 2, and we're going to do that in each stitch around. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then our last one, 11, and 12. Now, sometimes people will forget that this is actually a slip stitch. You do not want to be crocheting into that because that'll get your stitch count off by a lot. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet from the round. That'll join. And then we're just going to chain 1 again. And this time we're going to half double crochet 1 time into the first stitch. And then we're going to half double crochet increase, or do 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So 1, 2, and we'll end up with a total of 18 stitches. We're going to repeat that pattern. So 1 half double crochet, and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. So we have 6. Now we're just doing 1, so we have 7. And then 8 and 9 will be in the same stitch. And then 10. 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 16, 17, and 18. So once again, don't crochet into the slip stitch. Instead, we're going to slip stitch to that first half double crochet again to join. We're going to chain 1, and now we're going to half double crochet into the first half double crochet from the last round. We're going to half double crochet once, and then we're going to do another half double crochet into the next stitch. So we'll have 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and in the third stitch we're going to have 2 half double crochets, a half double crochet increase. So it'll look like this. So you'll have 1, 1, and then 2. And that's the pattern we're going to repeat. So 2 half double crochets, just normal, and then a half double crochet increase. So we're at 8, and this one will get us to 24. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 13, 14, oh yeah, 15, sorry, 16, I lost track of what I was doing there. So then we have 17, 18, and then 2 for 19 and 20, 21, 22, and then our last one will have double crochet increase, 23 and 24. Once again, we're just going to slip stitch to the first half double crochet of the round to close, chain 1, and now we're just going to continue, and we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first 3 stitches this time. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a half double crochet increase in the next stitch. So we have 4 and 5. So you'll see 1 in the first 3, and then a half double crochet increase, and that's the pattern we're going to repeat. And you'll end up with a total of 30 stitches. So that was 5, so 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. We have 16, 17, 18, and then 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25, and then 26, 27, 28, and then our last one will be a half double crochet increase, so that's 29 and 30. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch once again to the first stitch of the round, chain 1, and then this is going to be our last increase row, our last row where we are doing increases. And so this is going to be, you're going to half double crochet one time in the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to half double crochet increase in the 5th stitch. 5 and 6. This will end up with a total of 36 stitches all the way around. So we're just going to repeat that pattern all the way around. So 1, 2. All right, so end the round by slip stitching to the first stitch of the round. And this is now where we get to start the design portion. So we have 36 stitches all the way around. This will end up, we'll end up folding it, and it'll be the toe of your stocking. It's super cute. But what we're going to do now is we're going to actually create the design. Now, this will end up being like a wrong side of the stocking. So you're going to want to make sure that you're good with the toe actually facing this way, and then we'll be able to go from there. We'll kind of, I'll show you how you can alter which side a little bit based off of which way you want the heel pointing. But for right now, just know that this side, because of the joins, you're going to be able to see the joints. So you're just going to want to know that this is going to be the wrong, quote unquote, the wrong side of the stocking. So this will be the side that faces out. Not that it won't have the design all the way around, but just you'll want to have this side more towards the wall when you hang it. So we have our chain 1. We are going to half double crochet, but now we're going to do so in the back loop only. And always the first stitch is always a pain for me. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. It's because I tend to crochet a little bit tighter than most. So half double crochet in just the back loop once in every single stitch all the way around. So this will kind of start your design. You'll kind of see it as you go. And I really love using these simple stitch techniques to create really fun design options. So I hope you enjoy it as well. Really great for beginner crocheters. Alrighty guys, so you can kind of see the beginning of the design here where you have the front loop only showing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch of the round, and we're going to chain 1. Now if you do not know how to half double crochet in the third loop only in the round, it is slightly different than how you would do it normally. So I'm going to start off by just yarning over, and I'll actually show you a little bit this way because it's easier. You can see that the third loop is right there. So after I've yarned over, I'm going to insert my hook into the third loop. I'm going to yarn over again, pull through, yarn over, and pull through to finish my half double crochet. And if you want a more like thorough tutorial, I have a video on how to half double crochet in the third loop only in the round and kind of the differences. I have that on my YouTube channel, so I'll link it up above and down below in the description. So if you need a little more of a tutorial on that, you can get it. But we're going to be doing half double crochet in the third loop only all the way around. And this will be the second part of our design. Makes it really fun. Got two, it's all half double crochet, but it's all about where you are placing it for most of this stocking, which makes it really fun and just, like I said, simple, but simple enough for like a beginner crocheter to be able to handle, to learn how to do, but also it comes up with a very pretty design. So it's a little, it looks more complicated than it actually is. Alright, so we've finished our half double crochet in the third loop only row. Now we're going to once again slip stitch to join. And if you wanted to use an invisible join here, you are more than welcome to. I just found that it didn't make as big of a difference as I originally thought it was going to. So when I was experimenting with it, I just chose not to do it. I felt like it added more time and not actually all that much of a difference in look. Alright guys, so we are just going to alternate the half double crochet in the back loop only with the half double crochet in the third loop only. So for example, I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm just going to half double crochet in the back loop only all the way around. My next row will be half double crochet in the third loop only, and we're going to do that until we hit round 14. So I will go ahead and get to working on that, and I will show you what it'll look like at round 14.
Alrighty guys, so now that we have finished our 14th row, and remember we should have finished with a half double crochet in the third loop only row. Now we're going to start making our heel. So this is where you have to make the decision about which way you want your heel to face. So if you choose not to turn, you just want to work your heel straight on like normal at first, then you are going to have your heel facing to the right. So basically the toe will face this way, and your heel will be here, and you'll have your stocking go up from there. If you want your heel to instead face to the left, you will need to start off by working on the wrong side of your work. So it'll be the exact same steps, but what will happen is you'll start off working on the wrong side and then go back and forth that way. It will not make a difference in the steps that you take, but just how you start. So if you have any questions about that, put them in the comments below. But if you want, that's if you want to have your heel on the left hand side of your work. So how I have the pattern written just without any sort of like extra turning is the heel is on the right side. If you want to change that, that's what you need to know, is to turn your work now. So what we're going to do first is we're going to chain 1, and we are going to half double crochet into the next 16 stitches. So we are going to go 1, 2, and these are just regular half double crochets. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn the work. So these are made in rows instead of in the round to create the heel. And what we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet decrease, or 2 together. So you could do an invisible decrease, that doesn't matter. I'm just doing a normal half double crochet decrease, or half double crochet 2 together. And then you're going to half double crochet into the next 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you're going to do another half double crochet decrease, or half double crochet 2 together, however you want, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing right there. So you'll end up with 14 stitches here total. We've just basically taken 1 stitch off of each end. Then we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn again, and now we're going to half double crochet decrease, and we are going to half double crochet in the next 10, and we're going to half double crochet decrease again, and chain 1, and we're going to repeat that same kind of pattern. We're going to half double crochet decrease. This will be our last row with decreases, and then we're going to half double crochet 8, 1, 2, and we're going to half double crochet decrease once again. So this will leave us with a total of 10 stitches. And so now we've decreased to our final row. We're going to chain 1, and now we're going to half double crochet increase in this stitch. So we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. So 1 and 2. We're going to just half double crochet once until we hit our last stitch. I'm sorry, we're going to half double crochet one time in each stitch until our last stitch. All right, and that should give you 12. And then we half double crochet increase in that last stitch. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet increase in our first stitch. So 1 and 2. Half double crochet once all the way across until our last stitch. And then 2 half double crochets or half double crochet increase in our final stitch. Should leave you with 14 stitches. And then our last increase row, we're going to half double crochet increase again in the first stitch. Half double crochet once in each stitch until the very last one. Okay, and we're going to half double crochet increase in our very last stitch again. And this will leave you with 16. Now what we're going to do is, this is the right side of our work. We are actually going to fold it over onto itself so the wrong side is on the outside. And for some people, I know it may be easier if you put stitch markers there to hold it. I don't find that it's super necessary, but to each their own. So we're going to go ahead and just chain 1. We're going to fold it over onto itself so the wrong side is showing. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to single crochet through both layers, and this will create the heel. So there's not an exact number of stitches that are perfect. I just like to make sure that there's no gaps. You don't want any big gaps showing because they will be a little bit more apparent. I don't know what it is about the heel, but everybody, your eye just kind of goes straight to that heel section if there's any gaps. So I say about 3 to 4 single crochet stitches across. So you want to make sure you at least have 1 single crochet stitch. You want to make sure you're going through both sides per row. If you're nervous about it, you could do more. It's up to you. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and fasten off, and then I will reattach here at the corner with a slip stitch and go ahead and finish this up, and I'll show you how to finish up the other side. All right, so to reattach here in the corner, I like to make sure that I have my seam kind of like lined up. You want to make sure your corner is pretty even across. It's not super important to have it like exact, but you do want it to be pretty even. This will help you make sure you have
a similar number of single crochets on both sides. So I'm just going to reattach here with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then you can single crochet in the same spot, and then in each row across through both sides. So I got 2, you'll sometimes find that one side's easier than the other, 3, and 4. So now that we have this, we are going to go ahead and flip the wrong side back inside of itself. And you can go ahead and turn your work so it should be facing you now. So this is what it'll look like, but remember this is the wrong side. So this is what the right side, the outside, will look like so far. So now we're going to go ahead and start work on the top portion of our stocking. So I already have my little chain 1. So what we're going to do is you want to make sure you are now going to be working in the back loop only for almost all of these stitches. So we're going to go for the first, excuse me, my yarn's getting all hung up. For the first 16, which is along the back side of the heel, you are going to work in a half double crochet in the back loop only all the way across. So that should be 16. So you have 1, Alright, after you have done 16 half double crochets in the back loop only, you're now going to do a half double crochet 3 together. Now this is going to look a little bit wonky in my opinion at first, and it's only because you're really wanting to close up this gap to make sure that there's no big hole. This area can really tend to look huge if you are unsure about placement. So honestly, sometimes I'll do it and then I'll be like, nope, I didn't place it correctly, and I'll have to undo it. So make sure you are really watchful of it. But I usually take kind of, it's like, oop. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to push, kind of force your hook into the side here of this heel. And it's not always the most easy because it's where you were single crocheting, but you want it to be nice and tight with your tension. So you are going to need to kind of finagle it a little bit. Yarn over again, and I insert it into this one that we use to attach. Yarn over again, and then the first half double crochet right there. Then we're going to yarn over, and so you'll end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over and go through all of them. Sometimes it takes a little finagling because you do want tight tension right there. And you'll see how it can have a little bit, but as it'll relax, you'll kind of see. Okay, there you go. And then you're going to do 18 half double crochets in the back loop only, all the way across the top. And as a little tip, if you're really struggling with this
section for whatever reason, you can always take that little yarn tail or take a little extra yarn and like just sew it up. I've had some stockings where it just did not stinking matter for whatever reason, because of how I had done the heel, that sometimes they just do not want to work with you at all. So just as a heads up, that is an option for you. All right, and then your last stitch of the round is going to be another half double crochet, 3 together. So you're going to go yarn over, insert your hook into that last half double crochet over the top of the toe. You're going to yarn over again, and you're going to insert it into that one that's helping connect it, help the heel to the rest of the toe. And then you're going to yarn over again, and you're going to get into the side of the heel right there. And then you're going to yarn over and very carefully pull through all the loops. And then you're going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet from the round. Voila. So let's take a look. So this is where we are at so far. We've got the toe and we have our heel. So now we are going to continue working in those rows of half double crochet in the back loop only and alternating with half double crochet in the third loop only. So we just finished what would be considered a half double crochet in the back loop only row. So now what we're going to do is we are going to do a half double crochet in the third loop only row. So we're going to chain 1. This first one is always hard after the heel, so it may not be perfect, and that's okay. And I find also that the same thing goes for when you're doing the half double crochets from the where the 3 together, they do not always like to work with you well. So just do what you can. And you're just going to do it once in each stitch all the way around, just like before. So here's one of our ones from the half double crochet in the third loop. So you're going to want to try to take whatever the top loop is right there. That's the one you want to take. And like I said, if it gets to be a little wonky, it's okay. Just do your best on that. All right, and then our final one, same thing, just try to take that top loop And then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the very first half double crochet from the round. Voila. So you should end up with 36 stitches in each row. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and now alternate. So I did a half double crochet in the third loop only of each stitch. So now I'm going to do the back loop only for each stitch all the way around. And that's the 2 rows that we're going to be alternating back and forth, just like before, until we reach round 28. So I'm going to go ahead and keep crocheting, and I will see you back here once I hit round 28, and I will show you how we finish off this stocking. Alrighty guys, so I have finished my 28th row, or just about. I'm going to show you quickly how to color change on the very last stitch. So you should finish up with a half double crochet in the third loop only row. That should be your row 28. And then you're going to go ahead on the last stitch. You're going to start it just like normal, but instead of wrapping around and pulling through with your same color, you're actually going to take your new color. So I'm going to do white, and I'm sorry if it's a little bit bright on here, but you're going to wrap around and you're going to just pull through with your new color, and you're going to slip stitch into the very first half double crochet in the third loop only of the round with that new color. Boop. And this will allow you to finish the cuff, or to create the cuff in this new color without it having kind of a weird change at the end. So before we get going, I'm going to go ahead and fasten off and make sure I get my first color out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and start our cuff. Alrighty guys, so to start our cuff, we're going to start off by chaining 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, when we are working the cuff, we are going to continue working it this way, and then we will fold it over. So what will be considered the wrong side is actually what you're going to see on the outside, and the right side will be on the inside. It'll make a little more sense as we get going. But so you're going to start off in the second chain from the hook. You're going to single crochet, and you're just going to single crochet in each chain across. So you'll end up with 8 single crochets. And then for this one, you are going to actually slip stitch into that same, because this is considered the first row. So you're going to slip stitch into that same stitch. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to turn your work. I know it looks kind of funny. And then you're going to single crochet in the back loop only all the way across. So you'll have 8 just the same. So make sure you skip your slip stitch though. You don't want to be crocheting in there. So here, let's see if I can get that a better angle. Sometimes it's hard for you guys to see what I'm doing. So I've got a single crochet back loop only, and this will allow it to create a little bit of a ridge all the way around. I'll show you what it looks like when I finish the row. So you'll have this ridge right here. When you fold it over, your cuff, you'll be able to see the ridge, and so it'll create kind of that ribbed look on the outside. So we're going to go ahead and chain 1 now. We're going to flip back over, and we are just going to single crochet in each stitch across. So very similar to what we started with, just a normal single crochet. And then what you're going to do is you're going to skip one stitch. That's going to be for that second row, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So skip 1, then slip stitch into the next one, chain 1, and turn. So you'll see you'll have a ridged or kind of ribbed texture right there, and that'll be what you repeat all the way around. So we're going to go ahead and single crochet in the back loop only again, and you'll have 8 single crochets, 8 stitches at the end, making sure to get in the back loop only for this side. This will be the right side. If that helps you remember it, when you have the what will be the right side facing you, you'll be doing single crochets in the back loop only, and then chain 1. And then when you have the wrong side facing you, you'll be doing just normal single crochets. Hopefully that helps you kind of remember as you're going back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat those steps all the way around. I'll go ahead and finish up this row just to remind you how we attach it to the rest of our stocking. And then I'll go ahead and show you how we're going to finish here in just a moment. So remember to finish up, remember to skip the chain 1s and the slip stitch. You're going to skip the next stitch, you're going to slip stitch in the next one, just like that. So you'll kind of see you're going to have that little bit of a gap. That'll actually make it a little bit looser, so it's easier to fold over and it doesn't get too tight. So then you'll go ahead and chain 1, and then you'll just continue single crochet in the back loop only. So I'll meet you back here when we've finished the cuff all the way around, and I'll show you how to finish off. All right, guys, so to wrap up your cuff, you should end up with 36 rows all the way around, and you're going to actually finish on a single crochet back loop only row. And then what you're going to do is I've already chained 1, and you're going to turn, and now you're going to line up your original row with the current row, and you're going to just line up your 2 edges, and you're going to single crochet, or I'm sorry, slip stitch through both edges. So I'm slip stitching through both loops for my single crochet edge, and I'm slip stitching through the base chain from my original first row. So we're just going to slip stitch all the way across, just like before. You should have 8 slip stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can go ahead and fasten off and weave in your ends, and I will now then show you how to create the hanging loop for your stocking. All right, guys, so here is our finished stocking. So now I'm going to show you how to create the hanging loop. So what I like to do is I like to get my stocking kind of just set up how I want it to hang, how I want it to look like. And then what I'll actually do, and you can do this a couple of different ways. You could totally do your hanging loop through your cuff to really make sure that it's nice and secure and it's really not gonna move. That is totally up to you. I don't personally love seeing the stitch on the outside, and then plus it's like, okay, if my little one gets a hold of it or something, then it kind of gets all wonky. So what I like to do is I actually will unfold that one side. I'll make sure it's laying the way that I want it to, and then I will actually take a stitch marker and just mark the spot that the corner is where I would like my hanging loop to actually be attached. Now you can do this with a stitch marker, or you could just eyeball it, whatever works for you. But so once I have that marked, I'm actually going to go ahead and set that to the side, and I'm going to show you how we create the hanging loop. Now there's a couple ways that you could do this. I am just going to use the foundation half double crochet stitch. You could totally just chain and then half double crochet if that is what you would prefer to do. We're just going to chain 2, and then we're going to do a foundation half double crochet for until about 4 inches. So I find that about 16 inches or about 16 stitches for me is about 4 inches, but for however many to get about 4 inches, so it'll, when you fold it over, it'll create a 2-inch loop. So I have 1, 2, and I like to use the foundation half double crochet because it just kind of makes it look a little bit cleaner. I've found when I do a chain and then half double crochet, it doesn't always look even on both sides, and I like how it'll look a little more even with the foundation stitch. Both sides will just look exactly the same, which, since everyone's going to see the hanging loop, I really like. But like I said, not required at all. You could just do chain 17 and then half double crochet in the second loop only, and then half double crochet in each stitch across, and you would have a hanging loop that would be about the same size. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish up here. Alrighty guys, so now you can go ahead and fasten off with a long tail. So I kind of do about 8 to 10 inches somewhere in there. And what you're going to do is you're going to need your yarn needle. And you are going to, I actually sometimes will take the short tail to do this, but it's completely up to you. I will start off by folding it in half so that way it creates our loop. And I will actually first sew the two ends. So I'll sew the two ends together. So that way they're really securely together. I usually do that like once or twice. Any way that you can make these loops a little more secure, because especially if you are keeping them hung up while they're full, that can make it so that way it puts a lot more stress on them which is fine. That's the whole purpose of them, but still, it can be helpful if you have it really, really secure. So I have my loop created. Now I have my stitch marker, so I like to sew it on the inside, and this is why I like the stitch marker, is that I can actually see exactly where I need to attach it. So I don't have to be kind of guessing or anything like that. I can just go boom and then boom. It makes it way easier for me to sew. So I hope that's helpful for you, new crocheter or not. Anytime we can get some fun tips to kind of make sewing a little bit easier, especially for those of us who do not really like any sort of sewing addition to that can be nice. So that is also when I will go ahead and detach the stitch marker just so it's out of the way. And then I am just going to go ahead and sew it several more times just to make sure. I like to make sure my stuff is like, probably I go a little bit overboard, but I like to make sure it's not gonna come off or anything. So you can just kind of keep going around and around as many times as you would like. So I'm gonna do a couple more. All right. And then what I actually do is I will use this end right here to kind of tie it off to make sure nothing's coming undone. But then I will also secure it, and then I'm going to weave in my ends. So I'll show you the finished product here in just a moment. This is what it will look like with its hanging loop attached. So this is the Little Homestead Stocking. If you enjoyed this pattern, please like and subscribe. And if you want the full written pattern, the free pattern, you can find it on my blog at godsgiftofcreativity.com. You can also find it linked below in for my Etsy shop too, if you would like the printable PDF pattern. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks guys so much. Have a great day.